Be strong, be you, be a Ninja Babe.
Hello, and welcome to the Ninjababes podcast. I'm your host, Cara Palillo, and today we have a very special dual interview episode with Allyssa Beird and her mom, Daria Beird. Mother-daughter. You know what they say, double the trouble, double the fun. I actually don't read into that too much because I don't even remember what that's from. It's just one of those things, one of those sayings that gets stuck in your head and then it comes out at weird times. Anyways, welcome to the Ninjababes podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening. So, little disclaimer, as many of you already know, the Ninjababes podcast is recorded on the road. So that means I usually record in hotel rooms, random living rooms, whatever quiet space I can find when I'm traveling and meeting with ninjas. So that means this podcast is not yet recorded on the most top quality equipment or in the perfect soundproof booth. I wish that it was, but we're not quite there yet. But interestingly enough, when I do commercials or intros and outros, those things are recorded at home in my own space. And so I've decided to start trying to make my own soundproof booth here in my basement. This is the first time that I'm recording in my little booth, so you'll have to let me know if it sounds any different than other intros and things that I've done before. I'm just being real with you. Just being real. The full Ninjababes website is almost finished. As we speak, myself and my team are putting the finishing touches on the site, and it's looking amazing. I am so excited for all of you to take a look at it, to see all the new downloadables and free things we have to give out, pictures and blog posts and everything that's going to be up there. The official launch date of the website will be June 15th, so make sure you're ready to head on over to theninjababes.com, and you'll be able to check out all the new stuff that's up on the site. I'm so excited to share it with you. All right. So let's get started with this interview. Welcome to the Ninjababes podcast. I'm here today with the lovely Allyssa Beird and her mother, Daria Beird. So welcome.
Thank you.
It's a beautiful sunny day in Connecticut.
Finally. We haven't had many of those, have we?
Yeah, for those of you who are spoiled on the West Coast or places that you don't have all the seasons, sometimes I'm jealous of your sunshine like this winter. It definitely was.
We just went from winter to summer.
Yeah. From 40 degrees to 80 degrees overnight.
There's no spring. It's fine.
Spring.
Necessary.
Yeah.
I like to do a little game called High Point, Low Point, which maybe you've heard. But basically, think about, this day just started, it's the morning, but think about this week maybe. What was your high point? What was your low point? It can be anything. Take a second to ponder. I can go first if you want. So this week, I would say my low point was, I work as a freelance interpreter. So I got to my job and it was not at all the type of assignment I was expecting. And so I had to scramble to gather speeches and information from people that I was going to be interpreting for that was very high end in a court setting. And I was not ready.
Prepared for that.
Yeah, I was like, this is not what I thought this was. When you said open forum, this is not the same thing. I thought this was a nice...
Recalculating.
Yeah, so my low point, it turned out well, but actually, it sort of turned into a high point at the same time because me and my partner for the job, we got through it and we worked really hard. So it felt like one of those moments, did it,
Success.
But it was definitely a little scary. But yeah.
Wow, that would be tough.
I think low point for me might have been, it's MCAS week. So those of you that don't live in Massachusetts, that's our state testing, and I teach 5th grade, so 10 and 11-year-olds, and asking them to sit at a desk in silence and working on a task that they don't want to work on for, 3 or more hours straight.
Yeah.
Daunting.
I feel really bad that they do that. But then personally, it's the most boring time of the year for me because I have to actively monitor. So I just stand and walk around and stare at them for 3 hours.
That's good.
So that was my low point this week. So boring and exhausting. Doing nothing for that amount of time.
Right?
Was there a high point?
High point, I've been trying to get running back into my schedule, so I don't really like treadmills, but I don't have a great place to run outside at the moment. My apartment has a gym, so I jumped on the treadmill and did 3 miles, which I haven't done in a while.
Nice.
I really haven't been running. So that felt pretty good.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Running is one of those things. Cardio.
Right?
I feel motivated to run when it's nice out,
Mm-hmm.
but then it totally drops off once it gets cold. And I don't like running on treadmills either.
Yeah.
And I've just never been a runner at all, ever. I mean, I did sprinting stuff in high school.
Yeah.
But that was like 50-yard dash, 100-yard dash. The quick little, get me out of here and I'm done.
Get me out.
And as soon as I had to do anything long distance, I would get that stitch in my side and it would not go away. So I'm like, I don't like running. And I haven't really done any running most of my life, in fact.
Yeah.
So.
What about you? High point, low point?
I live in such a strange world, I think. Because this is going to sound totally crazy, but the other day I went into work thinking I'm getting here early so that I can get a jump on my regular stuff I have to get done because I knew I wanted to leave early. And I knew that this other girl that was coming in to help, she'd be there, we'd get through this, and I'd be out there on time, no problem. And then I got there and my boss was like, okay, I need you to drive this machine out here, we're going to get this and this, and we get out there and do a couple of things, and he says, where'd the cows go? Because we went out to put water out for the cows, and the cows were gone. There's 4 cows and 3 of them were gone. So
wait, I'm imagining you having like an office job.
No, I work on a horse farm that happens to have 4 cows. Well, at the moment, so we had to stop what we were doing and look for the cows and then try to corral them back through and watch as they ran through the neighbor's fence and tore down posts and this really has set all of us back. So
this is your high or low point?
I could go either way. That's what I mean. It was different enough and exciting, but I'm not really a cow person. The cows don't like interaction with people that much, so you can't even really go up and pet most of them.
Yeah, I tried.
Trying to get those corralled in, and the bugs, of course, were just, again, because we went from that 40 to 80 degree temperature, the bugs came out the instant the sun shines. Bugs are flying all around and you're swatting at everything and you're worried about ticks crawling because you're now crawling through the woods and it's like, this is not what I wanted to do this morning.
Yeah.
So I would guess it was kind of a low point, but I love being outside so I can't complain too much. High point? Did I have a high point this week? I mean, if I go back a little bit further, was getting the call from A&W to be on the show. That was a super high point, but that might have been further back than just this week. So, yeah.
Another high point for my week is undoubtedly the joy of getting more custom-made Ninja holds from Monstro Holds. Monstro is installing my very own Ninja play space in my apartment, and I'm so excited to get some intense grip training happening right here in my own living room. I've already posted the beautiful unicorns that I've been playing with. I love the glitter and the color and the fact that I was able to help Eric make those myself and see all of the behind the scenes of what goes into making Ninja holds. It's pretty fascinating. I'll be posting more behind the scenes footage on the Ninjababes YouTube channel of the inner workings of Monstro holds so you can see for yourself what goes into making one of these awesome holds. If you haven't checked them out yet, take a look at their products on Instagram and their website. You've got to go big. Go Monstro. Use code Ninjababes for 15% off your order, excluding sale and wig nuts. That's monstroholds.com. Is this your first season applying for the show?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah. So exciting. We'll all be there
is.
together.
Yes.
Sweet. How did it feel when you got the call?
It was kind of surreal. Mm-hmm. Because on the one hand, kind of expecting it based on the storyline and what other people were telling me.
Right.
And on the other hand, I'm like, but am I really qualified for this?
Yeah.
There are so many great ninjas out there, and why are they calling me? I'm like, yeah, this is so exciting. And to get to do it with Alyssa, it's just like, oh.
Yeah. You too.
Because I had seen the show the very first time, and I thought, where's all the women? There's no women on this show. I really want to do this. It'd be so much fun. And then I tried a couple years later, I tried a couple things, and Alyssa took me, I'm like, I can't do any of this stuff. Well, who was I kidding? I'm not strong enough for this. And then 2 years after working at a horse farm and shoveling a lot,
wow,
it made all the difference, because then I went to a gym like, this stuff is actually easier than I thought. This is fun. I'm going to do this now. So the fact that I'm actually going to be on the show is kind of just blowing my mind right now.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm imagining this is probably not at all what your shirt's going to look like, but imagining your shirt logo, like a horse with like biceps. You're just like holding you on his shoulder. I'm just kidding. That's just mine.
Like a centaur.
Yeah, right? Helping me up that warped wall, yeah.
You never know. How about for you? Because I know probably feels a bit expected to be called back, but...
It was kind of funny because Peter, one of the main producers, I've known him since I got in trouble with him, my first experience in the show in Philly season 8.
Oh.
So a couple of quick tips for people who have never been on the show and want to not
be called out.
Be in trouble your first time. Don't be late for rules. And don't wear flip-flops on set. It's technically an active construction site, so... When you're late for rules and you finally show up to rules and you're wearing flip-flops, it's like not a good combo.
Double whammy.
So that was my first experience with Peter, and he was yelling at me. But then luckily I did okay, season 8, so then he really liked me after that, I guess. But anyway, he called and he tried to play it off like he was just calling and checking in with me.
Oh.
Just wanted to call and see how things were going. I'm like, oh, great. And I tried to play it off in ways that he jokes with me. So I should have, like, hung up on him and made him call back because that would have been way funnier. But he said something about, I'm sure you expect it. But honestly, I mean, every season there's people that don't get calls that are just a complete shock. So even though people were saying, last season, when I was saying, well, I hope you get a call, and they're like, are you kidding me? I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, it's a show. If it were the Olympics and you're the top athlete, then sure, you're probably guaranteed. But, if it's TV and if your story isn't what they're looking for, then regardless of how good you may or may not be, then there isn't a guarantee. So I always go in hoping for the best, but I don't want to hype myself up for something that then feels twice as disappointing if it doesn't work out the way that you are expecting it to. Right. So it's always exciting and kind of a sigh of relief to get the call. So that was kind of my
I remember
my experience
for season 8 when you were kind of waiting for that call and you're thinking, why would they call me? I don't have a good backstory. Everybody else has these awesome stories of what they do with their lives and that they're on their show, and I don't have that.
Yeah.
I just want to try this out. I'm a teacher, but so yeah, I remember the emotions you were going through.
Yeah. That was only a couple days.
Yeah,
I know. So close.
It'll be my first time as well, so it's exciting. I don't know, I'm excited, but I'm also just trying to clear my brain and feel as calm as possible and just not let any weird nerves jump in at the last second. Because I usually feel like I'm fine until I get there. And then it's like, and then this is really happening.
On that note, it's for local competitions, I get really nervous. Like, my heart rate goes up, rush of adrenaline, and I'll be standing on the starting block for local comps, and I feel like I'm out of breath and I haven't moved yet. Well, great, cotton mouth, I'm panting, I'm they haven't said go yet. So I was kind of expecting something like that on the actual show, but I think having trained with people, going into Philly season 8, it was, Jessie and training with her and then going in together. It was a nice, we've been training together and now we're doing this together. So it felt pretty comfortable. I wasn't nervous at all on the starting block my first season. And it was, I think, part of what I do is I pick up on other people's energy in terms of if everyone's freaking out and nervous, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to be nervous then. And then I wasn't. You guys can all be nervous. Feel free. You take that. And I'm just going to be fine with this and be excited. And a lot of people were talking about blacking out, not, passing out during the course, but blacking out so they don't remember what was going on and they don't remember how they got to obstacle 3, but suddenly they're there. I was like, that doesn't seem like a great way to experience this. So I was focused on making sure I was not hyper conscious, but finding people in the crowd to look at and make eye contact with as I was going, and that really helped too. And then last year, it's knowing the producers and stuff, chatting with them beforehand, fist bumping Peter before I go, and we said something about a buzzer, and that worked out well. So I think it's just finding those little pieces of comfortability before you go to help settle nerves, but a little adrenaline's always good. So
for sure,
use it.
Yeah. Even in local competitions, I found in the beginning of this season, I felt a lot more of almost like you're saying the weird tunnel vision, but it was in a bad way. I was nervous and felt all that adrenaline and was going through the course, and it was I couldn't see anything except for the steps, the points in front of me, and that made me feel like I had blinders on, and it was very weird. And I didn't do as well those comps, but then other times that I felt more settled, I consciously when they would do the do 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 do, I would wait a second and allow my brain to feel I was in the control of going, and it wasn't I just heard the beep and had to go.
Right.
It was okay, I acknowledge the fact that I can
allowed to start now,
but I will go now that I'm ready. And it actually made a big difference because it allowed me to just be deep breath, I'm in control, let's do this. And I definitely did better those comps. So
interesting.
I have a question. So you know how Ninja is very mental focused as well as the physical abilities. So what do you think you'd rather do? Would you rather run the course, say a qualifiers course, for example, and be having to recite multiplication tables as you run? Or would you rather run the course and have people throwing fruit at you? Which one would you rather do?
That's a good question.
I could see the benefits of both. I could, because with the multiplication, at least you're internally focused and thinking. But if I'm thinking about multiplication, am I really thinking about what I'm doing?
Right.
Versus the whole people throwing fruit or something at you. You know, what if you slip on a banana peel as you're going for that?
That's fair.
There's more obstacles in your way all of a sudden instead of just a thought process.
I think for me personally, having a background as a runner, when I am running, which is a slightly different type of physical activity because it's a kind of a passive activity where once you go, your body just keeps running.
Mm-hmm.
But I do math while I run.
Do you?
Wait.
Yeah.
That question was perfect for her.
Yeah, and usually it's in terms of passing mile markers and looking at my time and then dividing out my actual pace and figuring out if I'm running this pace, then I'll come in at this time. And if there is an extra 2.2 miles at the end, then that would be this percentage of a minute. So to try to PR, like I actually...
That's crazy.
And then it'll take, and a mile later, I'm like, oh, that was a quick mile. Because I was like doing all these calculations in my head about it. I've talked to other runners and they've done different types of math equations too. And I was actually in the Chicago Marathon, somebody made a sign that had a mathematical equation on it. So like to help you think about stuff as you went instead of just like running.
Mm-hmm.
So I might choose that option, but I'm just not sure because there's so many technical obstacles with Ninja if that would be detrimental to have your mind focused on something else.
Yeah.
Probably be apt to make some silly errors.
Silly errors. More serious errors.
So,
Yeah, at least with running, it's like a repetitive motion.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So you don't have to focus on technicality as much.
right.
Yeah, exactly, because your feet are just moving.
Yeah.
Unless you're doing hills or steps or something, you don't have to really change it much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I would definitely go with have someone throw fruit at me if I really had to choose. My brain can't calculate that.
I mean, does it depend on the fruit? Because, like, I would take a kiwi over, like, a pineapple.
All right, nothing that's going to knock you unconscious. But yeah, as you're explaining your math equations, Daria and I are, like, mind blown. Oh my
Yes. No.
I have a new level of respect for you.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I've just also never been great at math, so
Yeah.
that seems horrible to me.
Take me right back to those, third and fourth grade multiplication tables that you have to memorize. Do that in my head as I'm trying to do something else.
I would always be counting on my fingers under the table when the teacher would, like, ask us questions, and you'd have to, like, recite it, and it'd be, like, feeling my fingers. I don't know, I feel like everything in my life links back to my work as an interpreter, because, like, back then, obviously, I wasn't working as an interpreter. I was, like, 13 or 10 or whatever. But, I'm such, like, a tactile, visual person. Like, I need to, like, see it and touch it.
Right.
So, even multiplication, like, I could do it if I could look at my hands and, like, do, like, that weird trick with the nines.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
for sure.
Now, music, if you're talking music, just put music on. I will sing to it no matter what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Whether I really know it or not, sometimes put my own words in there. But my brain just picks up on that. So I'll sing all the time. And I don't have to focus on something else. Mentally.
Yeah.
But physically, I mean, I could run a course and sing at the same time.
Yeah.
Without even thinking
You
about
could
it.
run with music. Do the Drew approach. Put in headphones and
yeah.
go.
It's true.
Yeah. Also in high school, I played volleyball,
Mm-hmm.
and we used to do this practice where when we were serving the ball, the rest of the team would be screaming at you to try and, like, distract you, or, like, throw other balls, like, past you.
Right.
Just to, like,
Psych you
make
out,
you
really.
have to focus and, psych you out.
Yeah.
So I think I was thinking about that with the fruit. As long as you're not slipping on the fruit, I think I'd be able to block that out pretty well, just because it's, like, I could be aware of it and just, like, allow it to hit me or allow it to do whatever, but, like, stay honed in.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's true just of obstacles in general. Even if you're not having fruit thrown at you, it's like so many times a lot of people are running that balance obstacle or whatever, not even on the show, but in comps anywhere. And it's like they're doing it. They're like, oh yeah, this is easy. I got this now. Like that overconfidence. And then the last step you fall because you're like, oh, well, I'm there now.
Right.
So like,
Yeah,
really
you did it.
keeping like honed in. Allyssa, do you have any tips or like anything that you keep in mind when you're competing as far as like, I need to keep this in my head because this will help me succeed?
I've been trying to do better with visualizing before I run courses. So taking time on my own to just go somewhere, close my eyes, and think through. This is difficult for me because I tried visualizing the gymnastics too. And it turns out where I'm like visualizing myself trying to do a flyaway on bars, and for some reason I'll like, in my head I picture myself flying away and looping back and hitting the bar, and like I can't visualize myself doing the normal thing I want to do. It always turns into like a weird dream, like that physics wouldn't make that happen, but that's what I'm picturing as I close my eyes and picture it. So I've avoided visualizing for a while, but I've started getting back into it, where thinking through each actual obstacle, how long it's going to take to get through each, the technique that I'm going to use to get through each obstacle. James taught me to actually time my visualizations and try to actually make it match up with the speed that you would do it on a course, just to see, is that the right approach? Or, maybe you want to run it in 2 different ways and try something else on obstacle 3 in your head and see if maybe that's more efficient, or if that feels better as you visualize it. So that's something that I try to have a game plan for every single obstacle as I go, which, of course, some obstacles like, balance or agility, depending on how your foot falls and how the obstacle moves, reacts, or, even upper body ones too, that you might have to change up what you originally had visualized or planned for. So that's always good to have that as something in your side pocket, knowing you're going to have to react in the situation, but having an initial game plan going forward, which I think for season 8, that was the one thing that prevented me from doing better than I think I could have. I was just excited to be there and was like, woohoo, the show, let's do this. And like, here's the first obstacle, I did it. Here's the second obstacle, still in it. And then, like, obstacle 5, I was like, holy cow, this really stinks. Rolling Thunder is the worst obstacle that's ever been invented. And then I was in the water. So I think if I had a game plan going into it, I would have tried a couple different things, or, used some time between obstacles a little bit more wisely, or thought about my breathing a little bit more. So just knowing what you're doing before you do it, I think, is helpful. I think that's my biggest tip.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I feel like I've learned so much about myself and strategy since I started Ninja, because I was never really someone that liked to think about details. I was always just like, I'm always been like a big picture kind of person, just think about it conceptually and it'll work out. With Ninja, you can't do that. And so it's been very stretching for me, and I have to really hone in on like what is Kara's process of thinking this. So even when you're saying about timing out how long it would take, that's really interesting to think about, because when I visualize, I still visualize in like a summary. I'll be like, okay, this move, it should be this hand, that hand, blah, blah, blah. But I'm not really thinking about the moments.
Like real time.
Yeah. So that's
different.
Exactly.
Really interesting. Yeah. And I feel like even for your muscles, if you're thinking about going through an obstacle in real time, you have to really imagine, if I'm gripping, I don't know, it's like all the little movements and like the finite details of, am I going to start feeling like I'm slipping at this point? If I am, how should I shift my body weight? Or how should I use my hips more? Like stuff like that. And
understanding your ability on each obstacle too, and your strength level. So knowing if it's a pumpy upper body obstacle and you've already made 20 moves, that trying to visualize the fatigue that you'll be feeling to make sure that your next move is something you would be capable of doing it takes practice. I'm not great at it yet, but I'm trying.
I was going to say, as a newbie this year, just listening to all of this, I'm like, oh, that makes perfect sense. Oh my goodness, I have a lot to learn.
But I think, Kara, what you said earlier is putting yourself in control of your actions on the course is the biggest thing. Because if you have a game plan, you're going to be less nervous. If you know that you have this planned out, you are going to be taking 30 seconds between these obstacles. Like season 9, I think season 8 in city finals, I might have been able to pass Rolling Thunder, but I was nervous that they were going to tell me I had to go. So I took a shorter break than I needed before I got on the obstacle. And that was dumb. So season 9, I took the maximum amount of time they gave me in between obstacles to ensure that I was able to complete the course. And they told me, like, gotta go, like 3 times. For different obstacles, not I wasn't DQ'd. And I probably took more time than I actually needed, but I felt more confident going forward, having the control over it, and it was my choice to take that time. So I think that matches up with with what you said of just little things, little tweaks that you can do that put the control back.
Daria, what are you looking forward to the most going into this season?
I would really like to finish a course. I mean, anything's possible.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to happen. I just think it would be really cool to make it further than anyone my age. And I know there haven't been that many. So to be able to make that statement and show other women that you can do it if you want to. If it's powerful enough for you, it can happen. But, and just, I don't know, it's just going to be fun. Yeah. Keep hoping I don't psych myself out too much going into it, because there's always going to be doubts, I think, for anybody. But I think sometimes the older you get, the more you realize how easily injuries can happen. So I think, there's that mental block that I have, as I'm doing if I try a new skill or something, I'm always looking forward to all right, I understand how I need to do this, but if I miss grabbing that, my momentum is throwing me this way and I'm going to land on that, which is going to send me flying back on the mat and I'll break my neck. So maybe I don't want to try that. So this all goes through my mind depending on where I am and what the obstacle is, and other ones I'll just go for it and land on my back thinking, that was stupid. Okay, let's retry this.
Yeah. That makes me think of, in Movement Lab in New Jersey at the gym, Najee he'll always demonstrate obstacles for different courses and stuff. And the crew there, we're always like, Najee, you can do everything so easily. Like, you do it 1, 2, 3, and it's easy. Like, you always hit the mark, whatever. So we always insist on saying, like, what's the worst case scenario? And so it's become a thing down there. Everyone's always like, all right, now worst case scenario, go. So he'll look at it and he'll be like, all right, worst case scenario, you hit this tramp too hard, you go flying to the right and you smash your head into the wall. I'm like,
no.
So it's just funny. But yeah, I mean, it all goes back to what you were just saying about visualizing, like being able to, even thinking through like what might my weaknesses be on this obstacle, like what could happen. Okay, how will I make sure that doesn't happen?
Right.
A lot of pieces.
Yeah, it is. Just put them all together quickly is key.
Yeah. Ninja has so forced me to think, not just think more strategically, but think about saving energy, saving time. And those are all things that I just didn't really care about before. Like, just going to the gym and pumping iron, like, I'm not thinking about, like, being strategic necessarily. I mean, maybe if I was bodybuilding or something like that. But I was just, going to the gym for fun.
Right, exactly, because it is fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. And also realizing, as much as we all love, getting the call and competing on the show, again, that, it is a show. And it's an interesting difference between local comps and when you're in front of the cameras, that it adds an element being outside as well, that sometimes it does rain and the course is going to be wetter for you than the person before you.
Right.
And that's just how it's going to be. And they always try to make things as fair as possible, but there's always going to be an element of, you just need to own what you're doing in the moment and make the best of what you are given to do. It's not a local gym where they're going to, reset everything and make sure it's exactly fair for every single athlete. We're competitors, but we're also casted people for a show too. So, again, I think making sure you understand that you can't have control over everything like you might in a completely athletic event, which you always, don't always have control over everything anyway, but understanding that there's a level of control that you can take, but then some other stuff you're not going to be able to control, and not to let that get in your head either. If it rains, and you're just, you're going to have to make it work and do the best you can, and that's what it's going to be. So having that game plan, but then understanding the possible outcomes anyway.
Have you ever had a ninja mare, like a ninja nightmare? About something, either, I don't know, something horrible happening while you're ninjaing, or maybe you have a ninja fear in real life?
Not a specific one. I remember at the UNAA finals season 1, I think it was Drew Knapp, that on the trampoline obstacle broke his leg.
Oh.
I believe. I'm sorry if it's not Knapp. It might have
somebody.
I'm going to throw you under the bus if it's not you. And I was thinking, that was about 2 weeks before filming Team Ninja Season 2, And my initial thought was, oh my gosh, I hope for his sake he wasn't on a team, because that would be so devastating to get injured right before Team Ninja.
Mm-hmm.
And then the following day I went to a local comp and sprained my ankle really badly 2 weeks before filming for Team Season 2. So I think in reality that was like, I was sitting in the gym icing my ankle the next day, thinking I just was hoping for somebody else that this wasn't something that happened to them. And here I am. My ankle's, twice the size it should be. I'm filming in 2 weeks. Do I tell my teammates that this happened? I mean, I've sprained ankles before. Should I just, 2 weeks is enough time to just tape it up and go? So I sat on it for a couple of days and limped my way through the airport the next day to go home, and was having a really hard time just putting weight on it and walking. I was like, all right, but it's gonna be fine. And then one of my teammates, Josh Levin, had texted our group and said, hey guys, I just took a fall at a climbing comp. It was into the water from like 40 feet on my head. My neck's kind of messed up. So just wanted to let you guys know. I was like, I can't say anything now. Like, I just have to make this work. And it was still, I could barely walk normally on it in a brace when I competed. So that was kind of a nightmare come true, where it was a major injury right before I needed to do something important, and others were relying on me.
Right. Yeah, it wasn't just you on that one. It was 2 other teammates.
Yeah. So that was tough. Not being able to compete at the level that I knew I was capable of competing, I think, is always something I have in the back of my head. Like the what if scenarios, which you can't bog yourself down with, but they're always going to creep in here and there. Mm-hmm. So, again, some things are in your control, some things are not. So just doing the best you can with what you have, and make sure you're aware of what you're doing. Not dismounting weird on stuff.
Daria, do you have anything?
Not a real nightmare. Just disappointment more than anything. When I sprained my ankle at a ninja comp. Because I felt like, okay, I'm just going to land 2-footed on this, and that's the best way to handle this one. And I landed, and the one ankle just rolled. And it was not like I landed on the edge of anything. I didn't feel I was landing on the side of my foot. It just, I'm like, wait, what just happened? As I'm sitting on the ground going, ow. And immediately my mind went jumping ahead. What was it? So it was a month before the NNL finals, and my mind was already, first of all, I didn't get to play today. I really wanted to play on this course because this looked like such a fun course, and I'm so disappointed I can't play right now. But then it was like, is this going to be ready in time for NNL finals where I'd be able to do anything? And that was devastating. But I can't really say it was a nightmare, but just a devastation, I think.
So how do you work through if there's any sort of, fears that you're dealing with, or just insecurities, whether it's ninja or life in general? Has there ever been something that really harped on your brain and was affecting either your performance as an athlete or just your everyday life being the most confident person that you could be? How have you dealt with those fears or those insecurities?
Such loaded questions.
This is the meaty one right here.
I think just knowing that nobody can expect anything from you more than what you are actually capable of. So understanding your capabilities and knowing personally what you are capable of doing. Again, whether that's in your job, your personal life, your hobbies, your athletics. There's always going to be pressures coming from other angles, other people, other places. For American Ninja Warrior, you have the pressure of it's a huge network TV show and millions of people are going to end up seeing this if they air it. So I want to make sure that I'm not, putting myself out there as looking weaker than I actually am, or having that internal dialogue where you're your own worst critic.
Right.
And I feel that too in my classroom is, am I doing everything I need to do to make sure that my students are as capable as they can be? Is, what if another teacher is doing it this way? Is that better? Should I be talking to them about their strategies? Like, always, I think, finding ways that you can try to improve upon yourself, knowing both your limits and your goals can kind of play into the path that you choose to take in all aspects of that.
I feel like that's a huge topic. Like, I've dealt with it before too, just feeling like I can do this one thing and I feel like it's good, but then I look at this girl and she's doing it better. Maybe true, maybe not. But, it's so important to just focus on your own abilities and your own gifts and values. And I think each and every one of us has something that's so amazing and so unique, and it can be such a benefit to our families, to our friends, to our communities.
Mm-hmm.
And so really just focusing on what you have that's your thing and your specialty, that's irreplaceable.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something I think about a lot, and always want every girl and every woman out there to know that they're valued and
definitely
they're indispensable.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
And I'm hard on myself for a lot of things, and I try not to do any sort of comparative things to other people. I mean, it's a natural human thing to do, so it sneaks in. But I think realizing that if you use those things as motivators, then the way that you see those other people then turns into a positive for you, because you're saying, like, take Jessie Lebrecq, for example.
Mm-hmm.
When I first met her and we were training, and she's this huge track background, and watching her be able to do things on like warped walls and all these things where I'm sitting there thinking, wow, I am not that capable. Like, my legs aren't that strong, or, I wouldn't have approached something in that way. And instead of sitting there thinking, I'm not able to do that because I don't have this background that she has, or, she's just stronger than me in this, so that could take me months to be able to do. Mm-hmm. I was using that as saying, well, let me look at her technique here, and if we work together on this, or if I try really looking at how she's doing this and giving that a try, then maybe I can help build myself up to that. Mm-hmm. So I used it as some inspiration, like I need to work on my leg power. So I started working some of those and used her as sort of a motivator of where I would like to see myself. And it's hard to work towards things that you can't see or that you don't know what it looks like. Right. So I think being able to have people that you can look up to is important in creating your own goals and the path for yourself to get to those points too. So I think if you can see it in a positive light, not just she's so much stronger than me, she's so much better than me,
I can never do that.
Yeah. But using it to really motivate yourself and allowing it to help you reach your goals, I think is it's hard. It's hard to approach it that way because if you're not there, it's a mind game. But
I think of my training a lot too, and I'll be in a gym watching people, and I think, wow, they make that look so easy. And I'm looking at it thinking, can I do that? Like, wait, I can. I may not be able to do it today, but it'll be baby steps. I'm going to first try this, and then I'll add that to it. And if that doesn't work, let's go to this and do that. But eventually I will get that. And it's just a matter of how quick it comes together for any individual. But it's you have to start with the baby steps and work your way through it, I think.
I listened to a TED Talk recently where it was an educator, and she was speaking about the concept of not yet. And it really hit home for me because I was like, wow, yeah. Because like you're saying, if you can look at, some, like your example, for example, with, with Jessie, and just, seeing what she's good at and realizing that you want that strength, you want to be able to build that technique or that strength. And instead of putting it on yourself as like, oh, well, she's just got that and I don't.
Right.
But realizing like, wow, she has this and I'm not there yet, but I can learn from this.
Right.
And it just, puts such a more positive, makes your brain just feel healthier.
Yeah.
Like you feel like you're in a much better state, and you're staying in like that supported, confident mindset rather than pushing yourself down and like beating yourself up about it.
Right. So. I mean, I had the first gymnastics coach I had, and probably a lot of people said this, but this is the first person who ever said it to me. You're doing the sport and you're trying to do this move that is just not working for you. And every time a gymnast would say, I can't, he would always come back with, can't, never did nothing. It's like, yeah, you're right. And it does turn you around to think, all right, I really shouldn't use that word. Today it might not be the best day. I'm maybe not going to get that done, but I will eventually get there. You're right. I just have to work at it.
Yeah.
But it's funny how some of those things just stick in your brain. Thanks, coach.
I think especially with Ninja too, where everybody comes from such different walks of life. Some people have never been athletes and this is their first athletic endeavor. Some people grew up as, gymnasts, rock climbers, track athletes, all these different sorts of ways in which you might be able to use your body or your strength or your mind. And everybody brings their own unique strengths into a course. And I think the courses have a nice mix of ways that you can show your own individual strengths. So even looking at top ninjas, if you know them well enough and you've seen enough of how they compete, you can pull out their strengths and weaknesses too. So just realizing that everybody has those. There's not somebody who is just good at everything that they do, encompassing everything in the ninja world. That everybody's always working towards something and looking towards others for tips and techniques. And I think the great thing is that it's such an open community in that we all are completely willing to share and coach one another, both mentally and physically, that it's all about being supportive and helping others reach their full potential, not trying to leave everybody in the dust.
Exactly.
Which a lot of other sports, that mindset kind of creeps in a little bit more. It's a little more competitive, person versus person rather than person versus course. So I think that's a cool thing about Ninja.
It is nice when I go in different gyms and complete strangers will come over and say, oh, you really should try this or that. I'm like, oh, thank you. I didn't think about that. Good idea.
Yeah, I think that camaraderie is really the only reason I stuck with Ninja.
Yeah.
Because my personality, I don't like that cutthroat competition. I'm just kind of like, yeah, okay, I'm going to do something else. I'm just going to go have fun over here now.
Right.
It is challenging, and it does really stretch me and challenge me, but I feel capable because I see what I've already accomplished, and I see other people in the community that I look up to, and I know that I have their support.
Right.
And so it's just such a unique blend of everything that makes this sport perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
You're wearing this sweatshirt that I love again.
I know.
Can I just have it?
Can I just have it?
I had done a music video thing for season 9 in my school. I don't know if any of the listeners have seen it.
I think they've seen it.
It's equally kind of cool and embarrassing. That's most people's reflection would sort of look for feedback on it. And I was wearing this yellow sports bra. And I actually had a company reach out to me and they were like, hey, I think you're wearing one of our sports bras in this. Do you want to do a partnership? It's like, okay, sure. So I think every new season for stuff that they're coming out with, spring collections and whatever, they asked me to choose some stuff and then help promote that. So the most recent one, the company is called Mondetta, or MPG Sport. That's how you can find them. And there's a super cool jacket. There's just a lot of nice angles and lines, and it's really flattering, and it's super comfortable, and the hood is nice, and
it's this beautiful forest green color that matches your eyes.
And it fits well. I have a thing with a lot of stores for women especially. It's my biggest feedback that I'll talk with employees in the stores, and I'm sure they're like, great, well, there's nothing I can do about that, but thanks for telling me. Even athletic stores where my shoulders and my arms are just more built, I guess, than a lot of women that maybe shop for athletic clothing. And I'll put on long sleeve things, and it fits greater on the torso. With an athletic build, you're looking for maybe a slim fit or kind of a tight fitting thing, and it's great. And then I go to try to touch my face, and my arm doesn't reach because I can't bend my arm because the fabric's too tight. I'm like, well, I need help getting this off. I can't even cross my arms and my torso because it's too tight.
Oh, golly.
So the nice thing is that it fits athletically built people. Actually athletically built people. Not people who are athleisure style, which is totally fine. But if you're looking for functional athletic clothing, athleisure is not always what's going to get you there. It looks cool, but it's not always functional.
Well, I love it. And I think I would need to go get one.
It does have a nice cut to it. I like all those different angles. And
I have a pair of pants from them too, and they're super flattering, and they're one of the most comfortable pairs of pants that I've worn. They're really soft too. MPG Sport, Mondetta.
Awesome.
Mondetta Performance Gear.
Okay, so
I believe
is the
acronym for it. Their website is MPG Sport, so that's what I type in.
Do you have a discount code or anything with them?
Not with them.
Okay.
No.
Not yet.
No.
Mix that
Not yet.
No.
Not yet. Maybe after we tell them they'll be in this podcast episode.
Exactly.
We'll send it off to them.
Well, I love that, the mother-daughterness. It's really great having you two together and being able to see role models like you together on the show now, but just in the sport in general. It's really cool and I think really inspiring, and it's crazy. I'll tell my own mom about oh, so-and-so's mom does Ninja too, and she'll be like, yeah, I'm never doing that. Right? But I know that, it means a lot to her to realize that there's all ages in our sport and there's so many different walks of life, and so I love having you two here. So thank you so much for being on the show, and thank you for sharing.
Oh, no problem.
You guys,
thanks for having us.
Yeah, you're definitely an inspiration to me.
Glad I can help inspire. Thanks for everyone that's inspired me too. I mean, it's so awesome.
Thank you again for being on the show. It's great having you. And test your grip on some of Monster Hold's incredible training gear, like the slip chucks, muscle balls, or infinity holds. You've got to try these. You've got to go big. Go Monstro. Use code Ninjababes for 15% off your order. That's monstroholds.com. Thank you so much for listening and tuning in to the Ninjababes podcast. If you haven't already, show your love by subscribing to the podcast on iTunes, and if you're really feeling it, leave us an awesome review. Don't forget to be looking forward to the full website launch next Friday at www.theninjababes.com. And be ready to watch the Philly qualifying episode on June 25th on NBC to catch Daria, Allyssa, myself, and so many other amazing ninja athletes as we take on the course on American Ninja Warrior. Bye, everybody. Catch you next time.
Oh, golly. Be strong. Be you. Be a ninja babe. Yeah.
Yeah, you're definitely an inspiration to me. Actually, one of your videos, not that long ago on the gram,
Oh boy.
was you were doing like a, should probably just find it, but basically you were doing like a big move, lache. I'm pretty sure it was from a bar that was like lower up to a higher one.
Okay.
And it was like a big move up. But the thing that I've been trying to work on, so I noticed it in your video, was your hips came up like parallel to the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And then you were able to make the grab.
Yeah.
But I was like speechless when I saw it. I was like, that's such a huge move, and that was beautiful.
That's how you do
That's what I need. Like,
Well, I think it's like with rock climbing is I know nothing about bouldering and rock climbing, so I go into the rock gym. And half of rock climbing is sitting staring at a wall.
Right.
So and if you've been rock climbing, you understand that that's what you're doing. Whether you're planning out a route mentally or you're just literally staring at the wall, that's most of the time in the climbing gym. But you get to watch what other people are doing, and sometimes I always climb alone, so I don't have somebody to bounce stuff off of, but watching other people do something and trying the same route that I'm trying to do, and they'll like put their foot on a hold that I didn't see until they did it. It's like, and then I try it, and I'm like, this is all I needed. Like that was the only thing. Like unlocked, I did it. So yeah, it's like upper body obstacles too. I think that's a great example. That was one of the biggest things for me is if it's an upper body obstacle, your lower body is just as important, like the movements that you're making there. So I think it's again important looking at what other people are doing too and figuring out. Which is why video is such a cool aspect of this too, and having such a good online presence with a lot of people is seeing what they're doing, and it could just be that little tweak that you need to make to something that you're working on that allows you to do something. So